Hello everyone, and today I'm going to talking about capacitors. What are capacitors anyway? Let's skip. So electricity can be fatal, okay? It can be fatal. Really fatal. So danger. Do not touch a capacitor. What is a capacitor? A capacitor stores electric charge in the battery here. So if I use a capacitor, I'm taking up like a human, and then we store the food. After we stop, we eat food, and then wait, and then we run again. I think of that, but much faster way, actually. That's how I think. So charge. So that's the difference of it. The battery had less resistance. It's a power source. It's a main power source. A capacitor is only the helper power source. And never ever touch one, okay? You can see lots of them on computer chips. Lots of capacitors. So how does a capacitor work? Imagine we use a water pipe. Okay? And we turn off the water to save our power. But if we use the storage tank, we have to put just like the battery, just like a capacitor, and it's just water. And when we stop, the water still flowing until no more water inside the storage tank. It's a capacitor. Let's see it again. Let's repeat it again. So there we go. And then if we turn on again, just go back to life. So capacitors are really special, you know. And these are all capacitors. Capacitors everywhere. You see it in computer chips. And capacitors like a storage tank. So it's just like, but yeah. I think the circuit is too boring because it feels so boring for the circuit because it's just immediately, just turn up immediately. But with a capacitor, when I switch off, dimming, it's fading away. It's always like a hush possible because it's festival, like that lights. And in here, there are the anode and cathode foil. All these this is a separator so that it can't make it together and it would ruin them. The capacitor and it would explode. We don't like that, yeah? Yeah, that's why we need the separator. Aluminum. It's aluminum. If you are in UK, you say a little different than mine. Yeah. And there is a terminal. So this is where you see in the beginning. You know why this is up? So I break this. This is the electrode. That's where the energy here is. The electric means that the electric means that the serially polarized. When it contracts in an electric field, then field. And you know what the protective case does, right? It protects you. It's also known as insulator. Okay, this code is an insulator. Why do we use insulators? Because it can protect. It can protect your hands from electricity. That's why we couple wires and a conductor and an insulator. The insulator is rubber to keep us safe, and the copper wire, which acts like a conductor, will pass the electricity. That's how capacitors have. And there we make a circuit. But this stripe is to the negative side. The stripes are to the negative side. Yeah? You see this is a real life capacitor. And there. And some capacitors have the negative side. So this is electron flow. Negative to positive. Okay, we use electron flow all the time, but some people use conventional flow. It was the opposite of electron flow. That means to positive to negative. I'm talking arguing with one of my craziest buddy when one buddy said that they hate conventional flow. Let's say that no, it's useful. And that buddy said that I'm just kidding. He's just kidding, not real. Thank you. So that's the electron and same voltage and no electrons flow. Just the same voltage. But if you build up electrons on only one side, that means you have stored energy to release the work. But electrons are negative charge and protons are, electrons are negatively charged and protons are positive. I think I'm like, yes for protons because it don't make you electric, and no for electrons, so it will kill you. You can think of that, or 0, 1 if you want. Yeah, it's binary, sorry. So this is give us a conventional or adult voltage difference. Voltage is like pressure, okay? We are measuring a USA cable, USA plugger. This is about 120 volts. USA. And this is completely filled, high pressure. But if you give too high, and if you get more of them, like more of these tanks, you can use more pressure, the more water you will flow, and more use. I think of like using a light, making like a water generator with a light bulb on the top and with light. This is like, I think so. It's a good type of energy, water. Yeah. And then further is the atmosphere. This one is completely empty. No pressure. Atmosphere has 0 pressure, okay? No pressure for atmosphere. But we have pressure, right? And this is the difference. This is difference. If you put in a different times, and you're gonna show 1.5 volt because of you use a 1.5. But if I choose the same, no difference, gonna get to that to 0 volts. That's why we was used. That's a 9 volt battery. 9 volts. And now it's still 9 volt. And everyone, this is magnets. With magnets, obviously it's attract. So comments down below, where should you get a permanent magnet? Safe and cheap, and from where? Okay, I hope it's Vietnam country. Yeah, so there's a capacitor, and it builds up the electrons on one side. It's like, it's a magnet. It almost looks like a magnet. Like this, like a drum or something, but not like a drum. It's just positive to negative, or negative to positive. So, also, this is not a lamp, okay? It's a dial. It's a light emitting dial, aka LED, for short. And that's a register. I'm gonna tell you later on for other lessons. Yeah, okay then. And that's how the capacitor work. And every single time we turn on, it's gonna emit the battery, but not a long time. Not a long time. It causes the lead to fade away. So and when you full circuit like this, the switch, and every single time I stop it, it gets the energy from the battery, and then it transport much more like an inductor. Yeah, not a lot, not like an inductor a lot, but where do we use a capacitor? Where? These are all capacitors, and these are all types of capacitors. Capacitor, the polargrid capacitor, polargrid capacitor. There are 2 ways. They're different. This one's polargrid capacitor, and this one's another one. This one is a variable capacitor. This one is a timer one. Oh yeah, these are only just drawing paper. So, like this guy, he's using a capacitor, but it's much bigger. Wow, there's a big capacitor. They're huge. They're intense. They're really huge. And this is capacitance, and this is Hammond voltage. We measure the capacitors of what capacitors did they use of farads. As circuit boards, you microfarads like this. No one understands? No, we don't need to understand about that. We measure the voltage on the unit of volts. I mean, not the volts like you. Hey, I have 1 volt. No, volts. It almost sounds like volts, but it's not. It's just like volts. Because it sounds almost the same, but they are different meaning. The sounds are the same, but they have a different meaning. So watch out. Unit volts. So I don't explain voltage yet, but you can use I posted a video of this already, current explained, and now we're gonna show you how we use that. So that's how the unit of volts, and this is the real life, and do not punch too much current or I get to explode. Let's see it. Oh, awesome, cool. But why do we use a capacitor? Why? Because capacitor, this is the capacitor used for power factor correction. Yeah, so you can use multiple machines. And there, the voltage is here, and the current is lagging. And there, the current is starting on highs. And I use a power factor with like a beer. Yeah, and we use like this. It's like, you see, it's supposed DC. I have made a game of that already. Electricity test. In Quizlet. Check it out and I will leave you the links. Like, sorry for the... So there. And a full bridge rectifier is like this. I mean, not the normal bridge. It's like a huge bridge. Like this. And there's a gap on the top. And this is called PDC, aka rectified AC, aka pulse direct current. And this one, I see there's like a capacitor out here. I see there's like a DC current there. It's like a DC watt current. And this one's an AC, and this one's a DC output. This one's really hard to find, but it's always common in this. So be careful with these. This one is a smooth DC, almost like a DC direct current, smoother. It's a smoother one. Yes, it's smoother. And how to measure the capacitor with a multimeter. So get a multimeter for the toolkit, and links down in the video for getting a multimeter, and from where. Hold speed now again. And in danger, it can store high voltage. This capacitor can store high voltage values for a long time, even when it's connected from a circuit. Wow, it's so cool. It's just like a box. When I take out, it's still inside here. Yeah, I thinking of like when I take away the box, it's the water. You know what happens? It's still inside. Yeah, even though it's not working. Yeah, when I bring the box. So if we measure it in volts, it will get any amount, like 30 volts for this one. This one we count as 30 volts. And we got the resistors getting lower over time. Getting lower over time when we use the resistor between it. So you gotta drop down to 0. And that's how. This is really, and this is 500 microfarads. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And be careful to see these signs. And there, it's a multimeter. And it has differences. And check out others. But if you want to watch more, click on these videos from the engineering mindset. And please, I'm really thank you for the engineering mindset for supporting this video. Please follow their video, please. I really hope you like these videos. Goodbye.